said it is one?
Yep. It should be. Oh. Mhm. Can you see it?
Yeah. All right, good morning, everyone. Today is the August District 1 breakfast. Our breakfast will be dedicated to a wonderful new initiative in our community led by Officer Watson here. So I will keep my words short and kick it over to Officer Watson to talk about the new efforts.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Honored to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I was asked to come and present about a new initiative that I started earlier this year. It's one that's been in the making for several years, but just the beginning of this year, I was able to start it. It's called Community Engagement Through Positive Interactions. WPD is going to have a new youth division where we work on crime prevention, resources, and just really reaching out to our youth to try to combat some of the crime that we've seen. But we're going to go through, I have a 30-minute PowerPoint, and then we'll open it up for questions afterwards. Like I said, Community Engagement Through Positive Interactions is the name. This next slide will be about a 7-minute video of a ride-along in Chicago where Matt Forte's ex-football player did a ride-along in Chicago. And if you guys know anything about Chicago right now, they have a lot going on in their communities, a lot of shootings, a lot of gang activity. And so we'll watch this video and discuss it after.
Lori, can you see the first slide? Thank you. Can someone go in the chat and let me know if you can hear the video?
Good. All right. How you feel?
I'm good.
All right. Thanks for coming out.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, y'all, this is Matt Forte for y'all Bears fans.
Hello, hello.
This is my nerve center. So they kind of monitor everything that's going on the fire cameras. We have shot spotters, so whenever they like fire a gun, it lights up on the screen.
Wow.
They put together a briefing with you guys. Every day we talk about what happened yesterday and kind of the game plan for the day moving forward. So we'll ride around to some spots. I grew up on the East End, so, you know, we'll go through some nostalgic things of my past.
Okay.
But, so that's kind of like the game plan. All right?
Okay.
All right, cool.
So you grew up in, you said the east side, right?
Yep, but see, this is the west end of this district. It's a pretty big district that goes from 75th Street on the north all the way to 95th Street.
So in other words, you got a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely. I mean, because a lot of people don't see police officers as people.
Exactly.
And in my opinion, you have to want to do this.
Yes.
You know, and you have to want to do it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
You know, because if you don't, then you're not out here making a difference. Used to be a theater right here, Rose Theater. I used to go to. I think I saw Jaws there. I'm dating myself.
So how does it feel that you're the commander and this is basically the city you grew up in?
Actually, Matt, it's a mixed feeling for me because when I grew up on the East End, it wasn't nearly as violent.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a different time. So whatever I can do to make it get back towards how it was when I grew up, I'm willing to do that, and I'm really invested in doing that. It's more than just a job for me, you know?
So with the gang activity and stuff, you guys got to really keep up.
Yeah, well, yesterday was a real bad day in the district. We had 4 shootings, 1 murder, 3 people shot in 1 incident. So we kind of talk about all of that, and if it was gang driven, because what we want to do as a philosophy is intercede with like retaliatory shootings. Like if one gang shoots one gang, then it might lead to another. We have to evaluate what was the cause of the shooting. We just crossed over into another territory. One gang, just last week, their leader was killed right on this block. Okay. And, you know, we're trying to evaluate who actually did it. Is there gonna be retaliation? So we try, we're doing better than last year with our crime numbers. But, you know, one murder is one too many, one shooting is one too many.
Exactly.
So, he's chasing a guy with a gun. That's close. I'm just gonna ride on it.
So somebody has a gun?
Yeah. A couple officers chasing him with a pistol. He might have him in custody, we don't know yet. He's got him. We got him. Sound like they in custody, so we can
Right.
come out. You guys good? Yeah. Okay, all right, cool.
So had a guy, they were chasing, he had a gun and he ran, they were chasing him down, they caught him, but he tossed the gun before they caught him. And now they're trying to find the gun.
Ran through this lot. I
Okay.
never really lost it after that except for a brief time when you got there. Oh,
You
yeah.
sure? All right. Okay.
I'm there for a senior citizen.
I know.
Being in the car and being in pursuit, my heart was beating a little bit. And when we pulled up, you know, he hopped right out and I was kind of looking like, should I get out or? But it shows you the details and you know, how serious they take their job. I mean, the guys, especially chasing them, they're putting their own lives in danger. And it's to keep the guns off of the street and try to make them, it gives you a new appreciation for what they do.
You know who that is?
What's up, man? What's happening? Don't. Hey, I'm not a. You see?
Yep.
See, that's what we're talking about. He didn't even want to
Yep.
shake my
No.
hand. I used to play for the Bears. You watch the Bears? See, the narrative, even to the young kids, is that all police officers are bad, and that's not the case. So we got to find some kind of common ground. He didn't even know or realize that I played for the Bears, and then once, even when we told him, he said, "F you," you know. So we gotta find something where that's not the case. That's not happening. So, what do you think, you know, we could do?
Usually when you deal with the police, you're not having a good day.
Mhm.
Because if you don't call us when everything's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to do more positive, what we call this positive community interactions. Just kind of having this dialogue, talking about things and making each other be, you know, humanized between us.
Find common ground.
Right, exactly.
So-
Right, yeah.
Because just, I mean, being in the sixth district and putting the vest on and seeing behind the scenes what goes on, you know, I had no idea all the technology and the things that you guys go through just to prepare
Right.
for the day.
So, yeah.
A lot of people just think, oh, you guys got a badge on, you put your badge on in the morning, you get in the car and then you go ride around the neighborhood. No, it doesn't go down like that.
No.
This is deeper, you know,
Yeah.
you get a deeper appreciation for the job that you guys do.
Is it paused?
So again, community engagement through positive interactions. That's a very powerful video that I discovered while doing research for a lot of the programs that I wanted to kind of model after to bring to our community. One thing that kind of resonates with me through the video, you have the commander who talked about humanizing officers. Sometimes we forget that officers are people too. We can have good days, bad days, but we need to have more positive interactions with our community to build rapport. Another thing that resonates with me in that video, the commander talked about policing the community that he grew up in. And I need to apologize to you guys. I did introduce myself, but I didn't give you my background. I'm a 16-year veteran of the Wichita Police Department, and I am born and raised here in Wichita. I grew up Northeast Wichita in the 23rd and Lorain area through elementary and middle school. And then high school, I grew up in the 13th and Oliver area. So I've spent most of my 16 years in our North Bureau in the area that I grew up because I love my community. And so, as I said, this has been something I've been wanting to do for several years. And it wasn't until the beginning of the year that I was granted permission to basically engage the community that I love. You can go to the next slide. You'll see a series of James Baldwin quotes throughout this PowerPoint. For those of you guys that don't know, James Baldwin, novelist, activist back in the 50s and 60s, very ahead of his time. And the first quote is going to say, "These are all of our children. We will profit by or pay for whatever they become." And that right there is very powerful. Growing up, I had men who invested in me, different family members, a community, and I just want to pay back to the community that gave so much to me. And so it is my passion to reach as many kids as I can, those who look like me, those who don't look like me. But a lot of these kids who are growing up in similar situations that I have been.
I have to share the screen again.
Okay. As you see on the screen, the Tangelo Park program, like I said, I did a lot of research for different community models, things that would benefit our community. And in doing the research, I realized a lot of the models that we already have a lot of those resources. They're just not collaborated. And so the Tangelo Park program is a program that was instituted in the early 90s in Tangelo Park, Florida. It was an area that was riddled with gang crime, violence, and Mr. Harris Rosen, who is an entrepreneur in that area, went in and flooded the area with resources. Also brought along community policing. And so since the early 90s, because of resources, because of a education model and police, they've seen a reduction in crime and also an increase in kids graduating high school and going on to college. So that is something that I'd really like to see in Wichita and things that we're striving for in our community. So a passion developing. This is several photos of me and my family. As you see the family photo, it's me, my mom, dad, and I have a younger sister. In the early 90s, if you know anything about Wichita, Northeast Wichita, you know there was a big, heavy gang presence, as well as crack cocaine. And so when I was about fourth, fifth grade, my dad kind of got in heavy into the streets. And so he was no longer in our household. And so it was up to mom to kind of be the mom. And so at an early age, not having my dad in the home, I sought attention from guys in the neighborhood. And like I said, I grew up in the area of 23rd and Lorraine. Back then, it was heavily populated by the neighborhood Crip gang. And so those were some of the guys that I looked up to. And so my mom saw at an early age that, you know, I was kind of going down the wrong direction. So she would have me go to church and do other things in positive settings. And it really helped. As you can see, the picture in the middle is just me, my sister, and my mom. Like I said, it was mom that really held the household down. But I was really missing that father figure. You can go to the next slide. So again, you see right there, basketball was my passion. And so one of the things that I've realized in mentoring youth, we have to find what drives these kids, their why, if you will. And so my why was basketball. And Coach Taylor, you see in the middle picture there, he was my disciplinarian. And I knew that if I didn't have my grades, either a C or above, then I couldn't play basketball. So it was that discipline, it was that love from Coach Taylor, from other guys in the church settings that my mom made me attend, that really pushed me to go in the right direction. And as you can see, we were a pretty successful team, ended up winning a state championship in the late 90s. And my passion continues. I coach basketball. I have a 21-year-old daughter. And so all through her growing up, I coached all of her sports. That was a way for us to bond. But not only us, I bonded with several other kids also. And so I continued the discipline and the love that I received from my coaches, and I give that to other kids. I continue to coach or mentor kids from afar, just through things that I love and things that we can kind of relate to. Right now, one of the kids that I mentor on a weekly basis, we lift weights every week. Normally it's Saturdays. We switched it to Sunday this week so I could be here. But I knew that was his why. And so that's something that we bond. We talk about everything from school, grades, to girls, but it's that one-on-one interaction that has really helped this kid turn his life around. A couple other kids that I've mentored in the past. One is a young lady, Miss Martinez here. We got her into the Way to Work program for 2 years, and she did a great job. You can go to the next slide. And right now, I'm currently paired with City Housing, and we have approximately 90 kids in the Way to Work program that it just concluded yesterday, but we had 90 kids paired up with different businesses, learning job skills, and getting paid from an annual grant through our city housing program. So that's just one of the ways that the program is working. Right here, you see this is a crime scene where I responded to a shooting. Next slide, please. A gang member was driving down the street at a fast pace, and one of the neighbors just said, "Hey, will you please slow down?" This guy got out of his car, said, "I have something for you," and came back in the wee hours of the morning and shot into the house just because the young lady told him to slow down. And because of that incident, one of the young men, Mr. Joseph, was struck in his ankle, broke his ankle. And so from there, at the time I was a community policing officer, I just kind of took the family in, made sure they were safe, checked on them from time to time, and really developed a relationship with the family. And so I still mentor those kids today. And as you can see, one of the resources that we use was Real Men, Real Heroes. And the kids have really strived through that program. Right here, with any crime, you can see or you know that there comes a time for court. And I won't go through the entire email, but based on that last incident, one of the assistant district attorneys was having a hard time with the family coming to court to testify. And court is very important, guys. If this family would not have come to court, this gang member who was using firearms and injuring people in the neighborhood would have gotten off. But the district attorney just so happened to ask me to go to the house to talk to the family, not knowing that I had a rapport with the family. And just my rapport and me showing up with him gave them the comfort to come and testify. And so based on the testimony that the young man gave, this gang member is now in jail for several years. So discovery of the program. Cake News did a series called Kids in Cuffs. If you guys are from the area, you may know the end of 2018, there were a series of kids doing robberies. And one of the robberies, the kids went into a store and a guy who had his own gun, it was just a patron, witnessed the robbery, and he took action and used his firearm to stop the robbery. And one of the kids ended up dying from the incident. From that, like I said, Cake did a news story and also highlighted some of the gang prevention efforts that I've done in the past. And you'll see it in this video right here.
Cedric County 911, what is your emergency?
They're shooting.
I'm sorry?
They're shooting on Hyatt, 25th of Hyatt. One ran, I think maybe somebody got hit. I don't know. Oh my God, somebody got hit. Somebody got hit.
It's called Enough is Enough, a video inspired by the new Wichita Police Department's Violent Gang Community Response Team.
Gang members drive on instilling fear in the community. Together, we can put a stop to this, but we have to work together. It's going to take all of us.
The video features two parents, Ricardo Harris and Benita Bell. Each lost a son to gang violence.
It was the worst day of my life. Like, I never thought in a million years that I would ever get a call stating that my child's been shot. And then even after the funeral, it just didn't sink in to me.
We just know he's been shot. We're praying that he's alive.
Harris's son, Robert Ridge, was shot to death by gang members while driving home one night in 2008. Ridge, a gifted student and athlete, lost his life because he glanced at a nearby car. The killer is in prison. Bell's son was gunned down by gang members in 2016. 2 teenagers are serving time in prison for his murder.
And that's the sad thing is, a bullet doesn't come back.
More than 2,100 documented gang members roam the streets of Wichita. They're getting younger and younger.
I feel like the violence committed by younger kids, juveniles, has become more serious.
Officers D.L. Watson and Donald Moore are the inspiration behind the video that's being shown to students in schools, at community centers, and on the streets.
So we really wanted to work on the prevention aspect in hopes that we could get it out for several people to see, and maybe it'll change the minds of some of these young men who are thinking about joining gangs.
Watson and Moore work closely with teens. They say kids who don't have a good family structure or anything to do after school are looking for love and support, and they often get that from belonging to a gang.
That's where it's important for us as a community to bring the resources for, after school activities, summer baseball programs, the neighborhood centers.
The hope is that by getting this video out to every parent and teen, it will make a difference and end the cycle of gang violence.
From that series right there, normally I don't troll Facebook, but Kate put that clip on Facebook. And so I just wanted to check the comments to see if there were positive comments, negative comments. But I had one comment that I did see, and it was by a lady named Jennifer Lane. And she's the one that cited the Tangelo Park program and kind of got the bug in my ear and really rolling towards a community engagement program. And so, like I said, I did the research, saw the model, and after I did research for what we have in Wichita, we already have a lot of these resources. We just need to collaborate. Yes. Children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. One of the things I see, excuse me, you can click again, Camila. One of the things that I see when I'm out patrolling in the neighborhoods, I see a lot of, for lack of better words, broken homes. Kids that really are looking for somebody to look up to, and that positive interaction and that discipline. And so that is one of the things that I really want to instill in our community is having that home base, that foundation at home that these kids can go to. And if it's me, if it's other mentors, if it's the community coming together, we need to do this for our kids because they will always imitate what we do. So we need to watch what we do as adults and make sure that we're leading by example. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And guys, I know that I have an uphill battle. Just last week, we had another young man gunned down in the streets. No cooperation, no witnesses. And so we have another grieving family. And I'm not sure what we're up to as far as homicides, but as you saw in the video, one is too many. And so it's my goal, it's my passion to engage the community. And if incidents do happen, then I want those incidents solved. So my mission statement is to create a better relationship with the police and its community while enhancing workforce development and economic growth while reducing crime. We have a lot of good things going on in our community, but what we really need to do is empower our youth through education and employment. And in the areas where we do have lack of resources, we need to get those resources there. If it's jobs, if it's education, whatever it may be, those are the two main important parts, and we really need to strive for that. Again, Councilman Johnson's doing great things over here in District 1. There's partnerships with WSU Tech, all kind of great resources that we need to tap into, but we all need to do it together, and we need to work hard at it also. That should be it. So again, I know I have an uphill battle, but this is my city. Again, I'm 39 years old. I've lived here my entire life. And so I want to really put in the effort to make a difference for everybody in the community. So we can open it up for questions if anybody has questions.
Good morning, Officer Watson. This is Lonnie Barnes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing very well. Good to see you. I'm kind of like you, and just a little bit. I've lived Wichita my life in here, and I've known your family most of my life.
Yes,
good people, Dad and everyone. You know, I like your video. I like the part about community engagement and things of nature, but I do have some concerns. We've been doing community policing for some time, and different officers have been assigned to different areas, and some of them we get to know very well. Others are somewhat distant, just show up at our neighborhood meetings. But here's the thing in here, guys, that oftentimes when we have, I guess, vehicles, avenues to communicate with our police, when we say something, see something, Crime Stoppers and all of this stuff of nature in here, and our community officers here, a lot of times people will reach out, and I can testify this personally myself and to our officers, because I try and make sure that not only the neighborhood in which I live, but also in neighborhoods where I have rental property in here, that I try and report anything that's going on in those areas in here, and try and be an active portion of helping to solve those solutions in here. But a lot of times you give the report and feel like you've thrown it into a black hole with no responses. And when you do get a response, sometimes it's very vague and we're understaffed or this, but no real feedback as to what you reported, the status on any of those. And some of those things go on for months. Response takes months, and so I believe in what you're saying, the things of what you've shown on here, and the relationships that it takes, stuff of this nature. But there's a broken process in here, and the process is how do we keep that communication going in here, that people feel like they're getting the support and the things that they're saying and stepping up to do are really taking a benefit. So what's those measures? What are those responses that let us know that these things are taken care of, or we're communicating on those, that we're working toward solutions together? The idea of just throwing it into a hole, reporting it with no feedback, that's not a good source. That's a broken process in there. Pretty soon they stop feeding it.
Absolutely. And one of the things, Mr. Barnes, and you're correct. I was one of those community policing officers. And the thing that I was asked by the chief, he said, what is the difference between this and community policing? Well, like you said, officers promote, officers change bureaus. And so my dedication to this program is to see it out. And this is where I want to be. And as far as what you're saying, as far as reporting, there's different things as far as like a pecking order with your violent crime as opposed to some of your property crimes. And unfortunately, when it comes to some of the property crimes, those kind of get pushed back, to the back burner because of the amount of person crimes that we have, for example, shootings, domestic violence, things like that. And so the CP officers are there for that personal interaction. And I just advise you, whoever that CP officer is, follow up with them. Because at times, and I'm guilty of this also, you get so busy with other things. Yeah, we have this report and we've reached out to you to let you know that we have that report, but then sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle and we need to come back and make that personal interaction. And so, like you said, you know me personally, and so some of the things that we get reported, again, the process, like you said, does need some fixing, and that's what we're working towards.
We have a question in the chat that says, is training for your program in the works for all WP members and courts?
All WP, is there training for all WPD members?
So like for the positive interaction.
And so right now what we're doing, like I said, we are expanding. We're going to have a juvenile unit. And so it's going to consist of 2 officers, hopefully myself. We actually have to have a process. So myself, 1 bilingual speaking officer, and then 2 detectives. We will eventually have a sergeant involved with this, but we're going to loosely include our community policing officers, but we're going to bring in our school resource officers from all of our high schools. And so those will be the officers that will be closely engaged in this program, but the entire department will know of the program and can refer those that need to come or need the assistance.
Well, it's fresh on my mind and here in regards to our communication with our community police officers, because just about each one of you comes to one or more of our neighborhood meetings when we were having them, stuff of this nature, even when we have them via Zoom or now. But you give a report about what's going on in that neighborhood, top crimes and vandalism and those things of nature in here. But I think the thing that would help both the neighborhoods and the police officers here, sometimes that's just an action board. And each neighborhood association should probably have one, you know, and it may be no more than 10 items on this action board, but some of those may be in the way, listing those top priorities on what we've listed in dates and times of when a crime or some type of situation, a weight to it. If it's abandoned properties and stuff of this nature, put it on the board, those ones that are high priority and a weight to it, and an ECD, so that we keep visual aid on it, not only when you come to our meetings and new people to our meetings and stuff, but we actually see that those things are on there. You put them on the board, put a weight to them, you put a date when you received them and a status of action. That gives us both a communication tool when you come to not only refresh our memories, but yours. And if we're making accomplishments and what we might do to get some of those off the boards. But every neighborhood needs to have something of that nature, besides coming and just giving a verbal, because if you look at this meeting right now that we're having, no one on this meeting is under 60 years old. So the items that you're talking about mentoring with children and stuff of this nature, most of us have raised our kids and down to grandkids at this point in time. So we want to know what's going on and stuff, but actively being able to participate, most of them will tell you we've done our duty and we're tired. We're trying to just stay abreast of what's going on. But we all have grandkids and we all participate in our neighborhood associations, our churches, work. So, but you got to be conscious of the crowd in which you're talking to, because parents of those, they need to be there as well.
Can you hear me, Mr. Barnes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I gotta stop you real quick. We have actually 20 people live on Facebook also. So we have 2 different social media streams, and we do have people under 40. So we have some younger groups. We have some actually youth serving organizations on here, and I'm gonna have to move on because we have 3 more questions. But thank you for those comments. We have a question concerning the hierarchy of, as this position evolves. It says, will there be a sergeant? Has the sergeant been determined? And do you know who the direct report will be, like through the chief or a deputy chief?
So right now, again, with the juvenile division, it is still in the works. And so right now I was given basically a year to kind of get everything up and running. And so again, it'll be 2 officers, myself, a bilingual officer, 2 detectives. That way, if we have families or those that we're working closely with that have active cases, then we can use those detectives to work those cases so we can get that initial response that Mr. Barnes was talking about. And then again, we will have a sergeant. They are adding an additional sergeant into our homicide unit. And so we will be under the homicide unit temporarily until they get a different sergeant and put us in a different section. And so that's kind of what everything looks like. We report to our persons crimes captain, who is Captain Stevens. And then his direct contact is Deputy Chief Salcido, and then it goes to the chief.
You see, Elisa, you want to read that?
Yeah, so Senator Foscadell asked a question. She said she hosted one of the governor's race commission meetings, and during the discussion, a Wichita community member who coaches Little League football said that the boys have to do fundraisers to buy their uniforms to play. Sometimes we even see them standing on street corners asking for donations. So the question is, would the Wichita Police Department be willing to donate 5% of the money seized during a drug bust to go towards helping the kids?
That's a very good question. That is one question that I will have Camila send to me in an email form, and I will pass that along. One of the things that we did apply for 2 weeks ago is a grant through the National Police Activities League. And through that grant, we would be granted a certain amount of money to run leagues. I was hoping that they would donate or grant us the money, and then we could partner with those organizations that you're talking about through a series of interactions with police and go through different interaction classes and mentorships to grant that money. But I was told that we would actually have to run our own league. So again, some of our sports and our youth, I do see some of our kids fundraising on the corner. And so anything that we could do to help financially, I would hope that we could. But that is above my pay grade. So, but I will send that out. And again, I will have either Councilman Johnson or Camila send that to me in an email form and pass that along.
I think while we're looking for more questions, the only difficulty I see with that, it's a great idea, but when I think about Representative Finney's push on, forgot the name of it. Can't believe I forgot it. Anyway, if you take that property and the money is considered property, it would have to sit there until a conviction is actually had in the courts before it could be released for an effort like this. So that process might take a while. And I think that's probably the only challenge we would have on that. After that, I think we could use it for that.
Like the seize, when they seize property?
Yeah, I just forgot the term.
The seizures. And you know, anything with government takes time. And that's why with doing my research, I wanted to partner with all those initiatives that were already going. Because it really makes no sense to reinvent the wheel. But like any program, any resource that we have, it does take time and money. Money is one of the big things. And so I'm hoping that through our partnerships we will have access to more funds, and that we could use them and allocate them how we see fit. But that's on down the road. Right now, my main goal, again, is to partner with those doing great things. Again, I did the Way to Work program this summer. One of the groups that I see doing great things, a youth group called Progeny with Marquita.
She's on.
Yes,
Shout out.
she's
on
doing
Facebook.
great things.
Launchpad is on Facebook too.
Yes, Launchpad was part of our Way to Work program. And then also I've been working closely with juvenile corrections. And so they have different grant monies and things also. And so again, this is baby steps. We're in our infant stages, but I see a lot of good work, and through the collaboration and coming together, good things will happen. We just got to keep plugging away.
We have in the Zoom chat a question of how can families refer their youth to get mentors? And I just want to say out loud that I posted the answer of we have a Youth Advocacy Coalition that Officer Watson is a part of. Our coordinator, Dana Gates, is working with different organizations here in Wichita. And so people can reach out to her at dgates, DGATES at wichita.gov, or call here to the Atwater Center, 316-303-8016, or Dana's direct line, 316-303-8057. And she'll connect you with any resource, organizations, events going on that families might want to partake in, and connections to Officer Watson's program as needed.
So there's a couple more questions. One, thank you, Dr. Van. It's civil asset forfeiture. Appreciate that.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
Yes.
So another question to Officer Watson. Do you see this new program struggling to get started and going due to the distrust of the community if it is directly tied to law enforcement versus a grassroots organization?
Oh, absolutely. And that is the part, and that's why I do the PowerPoint. That's why I partner with a lot of organizations. That's why I personally go out into some of these neighborhoods and even not in uniform, because I want these kids to know that I'm a person just like them. I grew up just like them. And honestly, since the Way to Work program, we had a parent orientation, and then we had a youth orientation, and I was there for all of those orientations. And just those families, like I said, we had 90 to 100 families. Just those families alone have been keeping me busy. I've been interacting with several families, meeting with moms and young men on a daily basis. And so that rapport and that trust is slowly gaining momentum. But I just want these families to know me personally. And once they see that, see my heart instead of my badge, then I think things will continue to get better.
Got another question from Facebook. I'm curious to know what lengths Wichita Police Department is making sure they are building healthy relationships with youth and communities and not profiling young people.
What links are we going to?
Yeah.
Again, a program like this, again, I really applaud our chief for seeing my vision and allowing me, a guy born and raised in Wichita, to go out and engage his community. And so, I actively look at the different cases and different events that go on in the city. And when I can interject myself, I do. And so we continue to have trainings annually. The police department, for those of you that don't know, we do have racial profiling trainings, racial bias trainings that we have all the time. But again, that does not make each officer perfect. And so through my efforts, if it's just me that the community trusts, then they'll see that I have the trust from the police department, and hopefully we can bridge that gap. That kind of answer the question.
I have another one from Ms. Mary Dean. Will there be any funds from WPD for youth dealing with mental health and traumas?
That is a different piece. We do have officers that work as far as the mental health, CIT, and so they are working towards that right now. And I think that's part of the ICT-1 that we have. And I don't want to say this wrong, but the ICT-1 has one officer, paramedic, and a mental health worker. And then we also have 2 social workers that we brought on to the police department, and they kind of work with some of the mental health stuff also. But as far as funds, again, the funds part, that's over my pay grade. So that's something that I would have to reach out and get clarification on.
I'm going to do a commercial break and share an event that's coming up next week for youth. And let's see how it pops up. It'll pop up. Share.
And before we leave, will you put my contact information, email, and my work stuff?
Text it real quick. The WhatsApp. So we're trying to pull up a flyer to kind of show everyone, not sure technical difficulties, how that's working. But there is a Weekend Warrior Obstacle Course for you to join next Saturday, August 15th from 10 to noon. There's a website to go to register. It's under primefit.youthfoundation.org. And anyone can call Atwater Center. We can also send it to them. There it goes, it's popped up. But that flyer is something that's available for you to join, to get out and release some energy and go through an obstacle course, kind of like American Ninja Warrior style obstacle course that'll be set up. And so this is in collaboration with 2 different groups that work with youth, and they're also part of the Youth Advocacy Coalition.
So Michaela on Facebook highlighted that ICT Launchpad is working with a local boxing gym and developing their youth program dedicated to empower youth, instilling education, wellness, and discipline. Troy has a program, Books Over Boxing, with 100% of their youth graduating high school. She said she'd be interested in seeing what support your program could provide to encourage these efforts in 67214.
Oh, absolutely. Camila is going to put my information in the notes, and I'll just say it out loud. dwatson@wichita.gov. Again, dwatson, W-A-T-S-O-N, @wichita.gov is my email. Please reach out to me through my email, because I would love to be a part of that. And then I also have a work cell phone number, 316-803-2300. So please reach out to me with that information, and I would love to be a part of that.
Okay, got it there. Now I'll add it to this chat too.
Any questions on Zoom?
Through Zoom, can you see the Weekend Warrior Obstacle Course flyer? Can you nod your head if you can see it? Thank you. Any other questions, comments? If you know of any youth groups or families that would like regular emails and information about youth serving activities, again, we want to email and call Dana Gates to get connected. She's at dgates, Gates, at wichita.gov. So our goal is to just spread the word. Someone put on Facebook that we have a lot of resources. We just need more collaboration. And we totally agree with that. Let's just keep the connections going, whether you have children, grandchildren, or no children. When you hear about an activity, just please pass it on. We're truly here to support, and we are looking at more collaborations when it comes to grant funding and donations for youth and families. Again, did anyone else have anything to say through the Zoom calls? We've gone through all the Facebook comments. Don't want to prolong it, but do want to give you a chance to speak.
This is Lori Lawrence out of Uptown Neighborhood, and we are just Douglas to Central and Grove to Hillside. So we're right in the middle of town. What I'm wondering is, I know that I have been to a couple of the protests, and I know that probably others that are on this call, especially on Facebook, probably have been. And those groups are asking for defunding the police, which doesn't mean doing away with the cops, but it means putting money toward programs like you are offering, Officer Watson.
Yes.
Have you been in touch with any of these groups? So, I mean, I know Brandon has been somewhat, so maybe you guys can do some outreach to them, because that's kind of going to meet what their goal is. That might be a way for you to expand your reach.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I have not been in touch with them.
Okay, keep going.
I have not been in touch with them. That is a good idea. What I want to focus on, me specifically, is partnering with the organizations that are already helping the youth. So as far as the defunding and all that, we have officers. We actually have a unit dedicated to all that. And again, what I want to specifically work on is my relationship with the community, the youth, and doing prevention stuff. But that is a good idea, and that's something that officers are working on a different end.
We have a couple shout out. Someone who lived in Fairmount area said they remember when you were their community police officer. You were one of the best and favorite officers.
Oh, thank you.
We still remember you well. Someone else said they didn't remember that, they didn't hear that WPD hired 2 social workers. And so they've been around for like the last 3 to 4 months. And so maybe we can get something out to kind of showcase who they are in our next newsletter or something. So I'll make a note of that also. The Weekend Warrior flyer should have been in the last breakfast update. If you go back to, if you're receiving the emails for District 1 breakfast, you should see that on there. And I'll post it on the Wichita District 1 Facebook page again to get you signed up for that obstacle course. Councilman Johnson, have you had any other interaction with some of the protests or groups that demanded more information and funding from the police department?
Yeah, we had a call, I think 2 weeks ago, just to go over priorities. The Wichita Racial Profiling Advisory Board had worked with a lot of groups as well, kind of came up with a list of 27, I think, items, ranked from 1 to 27 things they wanted to see with the department. We are working through that, and we committed to making sure that dialogue continues, not just a one and done thing because of what's going on, but continual improvement of the police department and programs like Officer Watson's doing. So update wise, a lot of that focus was Tuesday. But after that, we've talked about some foundational things and training items that we're going to keep talking about. And again, all of it was improvements, and some of the stuff we're doing, but we know we can do better. Some of the stuff I don't think a lot of folks knew we were doing or have been trying to get going for a while. So it's all lining up pretty well on most of it. So I'm just going to keep the dialogue going.
Are you checking Facebook?
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything. No. Yeah, if you have questions about this program or any other efforts or what's going on, please ask those on Facebook and Zoom.
Let me try to share one more commercial break if I can get it up here.
You have Pastor Pierce's stuff.
Only that they did the free food yesterday. For those on the Zoom call, please know that the Facebook feed is about 1 minute behind. So that's why you'll hear a pause while you're on your Zoom call, so we can catch up through the Facebook conversation.
I don't see any new questions on Facebook. Are you pulling that flyer up?
Which one?
I'll just say mine while you do that.
Yeah.
So August 12th and August 19th at 1:30 over at St. Martha Cathedral, Kojic at 1018 Delrose here in Wichita. There is an opportunity to get food like we saw yesterday. Pastor Pierce and Change Church of Wichita handed out 22,000 pounds of produce, food to needy families. They got rid of it pretty quick, and it was a lot of food, but they're going to keep that effort up. We'll share that flyer as well. This is free, so if you know someone in need, definitely reach out. If you want more information, you can actually reach out to them directly by calling 424-312-9431. We'll try to get that shared here as well. I'll send that to you. Any more questions, thoughts, suggestions?
All right, on Zoom, can you see the new flyer posted? Thank you, Dave. So this is another WPD initiative that was launched last week through a press release and through grant funding. Wichita Police Department purchased some car seats for families who interact with the police department through a traffic stop and do not have proper seating. And so through the Youth Advocacy Coalition, Dana Gates will be coordinating this program for families who get pulled over who live in 67214 zip code to receive a proper car seat. And so, and their citation will then be dismissed. So again, behind the scene things that it was announced, but some people did not get wind of this, of where some more grant funding came to. So we're grateful that we're able to support families. Unfortunately, you cannot call here if you don't have a citation. You'll have to be referred to another program if you need a car seat. just other initiatives that WPD is working on.
Did you guys talk about the Lights On program? Nice.
Go for it.
And so also WPD has the Lights On program, again, 67214 area. If those are pulled over for defects, they will be given a voucher for those defects. And then they can go to the local repair stores and they'll get those repairs for free. So several different initiatives going on. So many that I don't even know them all. But we're trying to get the word out again with things like the District 1 breakfast, different meetings that we have through Zoom. Like Mr. Barnes was talking about earlier, the neighborhood meetings. I don't even know if those are going on or if some are doing them through Zoom. But everything's probably going to be through Zoom for the next several months. So right now is a strange time to communicate and get everything out, but we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah, this room is normally full. I'm glad you brought that up. So kind of tying that into what's going on right now as we look at some of the unrest. Chief Ramsey kind of noticed pretty quickly when he became chief where a lot of tickets were coming from in Northeast Wichita, in the Black community, as we talk about that now. And a lot of it was your headlight out, tail light out, things that he felt officers could be doing other things with. So with that, he continued to work with activist organizations on this type of effort to find a way to, instead of writing a ticket, give you a voucher to get it fixed. It's a way to empower folks to not get within the court system and fines and things if you don't have the funds to do that. So it's a program now that's funded, I forget the dollar amount, but significantly funded enough to where our officers in this specific zip code, if they see a headlight out, you might get pulled over, but they'll hand you that voucher. You can go get it fixed free of charge. All you have to spend is your time waiting to get your light fixed. And then that's it. And you're done. Now your headlight's fixed, you're safer. You don't have to worry about getting pulled over again because of that. So just a few steps in the right direction to make sure we remove those barriers. And to the concerns of many right now, any potential negative interaction with law enforcement. These are all positive steps going forward.
And the last initiative I'll talk about, or that I know about, we actually got a little flack for it. WPD now has trading cards, and it's a series, I think it's 8 or 9 cards, maybe even 10. It has the different units. And so what we're having the officers do that are on patrol, those that can't really stop and engage for a long time, like I can, or some of the CP officers, we have the patrol officers in their spare time. They may have a couple minutes, but hand out trading cards to kids. And the goal is for the kids to engage with different officers and get the different cards until they get the entire stack. And so that's kind of what we're doing right now. We used to have baseball cards back in the day, stickers, tattoos, and you know, we've kind of gotten away from that. But those were some of the things that I used as a patrol officer, community policing officer, that would keep the kids engaged and happy to see officers. You would have the same kids coming back time and time again because they like the freebies and they like that interaction. And so any interaction in a positive way is great. And so that's what we're striving for.
And I think another benefit to that too, and I've seen the flack as well, but to me, it hopefully has recruited more Officer Watsons, you know, young people who grow up in the community who may or may not have a good view of law enforcement, but get these cards, you know, connect with someone like Officer Watson and then want to become an officer here in this community, in this city. And then we can get to a point that Mary Dean always talks about with having officers living where they police.
Absolutely.
You know, if they grow up in the area and they stay here and become officers, now we've got true community police officers, homegrown, and maybe this is one of those steps toward it. So I think it's a good initiative. And again, as we continue to interact with folks like you, I think it's a benefit to our young people, and hopefully we see more Wichita-made officers.
Absolutely.
I want to ask real quick because I don't see people's faces. And when I see officers, they're normally within their patrol cars. But do you have WPD masks that you wear when you do these kind of interactions with the kids? Did you guys make those? A lot of businesses now have them, which are pretty cool.
We don't have WPD masks, but all the officers are equipped with personal protection equipment for when they go to calls or when they interact with anyone. So you should see officers wearing those when they're going on calls. So, but we don't have any fancy WPD logos, but I'm sure we would love some. I'd love to sport one of those.
We have a question outside of this conversation that says, can we explain how we're managing the safety and social distancing and confirming if District 1 neighborhood cleanups will take place? I can speak to say that each neighborhood association has the discretion to continue their cleanup with the safety precautions of wearing a mask and social distancing. And I cannot speak to whichever one is scheduled for next Saturday because that's a private matter for each of those neighborhood boundaries. But they can proceed with, again, their PPE, their protection gloves, and keep our neighborhood clean. So if anyone's interested in volunteering, we do know of some neighborhood cleanups next week. We just don't advertise on social media where they will take place. You can call us here at 303-8016, and we can connect you to volunteering at one of those cleanup locations. They will be held from August until the 1st of November going forward at this time.
Any other questions or comments, thoughts, Facebook and Zoom? Again, some of the silence for everyone on Zoom is Facebook is about a minute behind. So when we ask, we have to wait additional minutes to see if there's a question that'll pop up. I don't have anything on my other pages.
Facebook just got to your comment.
Oh, Lonnie says he hears it at the same time on both. Maybe that's just iPhone users.
Right. We got Slack.
Hey, Droid is the original.
We got Slack over here. Joyce. All right, I think you guys can wrap it
All
up.
right. Well, since this is called a District 1 breakfast, you're gonna take me out to breakfast, right?
And you know, council members are part-time, and the way our budget is set up.
I was expecting breakfast. I'm at the District 1 breakfast. I came hungry. I like to eat too.
Vivian and Mrs. Maxine Bostic are laughing.
I've eaten at Miss Bostic's house before.
Oh, hold on, let me unmute Ms. Bostic. Ms. Bostic, you have to unmute and tell us how we can get those preserves. Did you do any canning this year?
No, my daughter works from home, Texas, and she knows Watson. They both went to Southeast. So she has the garden. I just went out and turned on the water, and she goes back and forth. So I don't have any preserves, but Watson, I'll be glad to take you out to breakfast. Tell me which McDonald's you want me to meet you. I like IHOP out east.
I like that old school cooking from the kitchen, ma'am. So I know where you live.
Well, if you come over, I know how to cook. All right, come on over. Let me know. It takes me about 30 minutes to cook it.
All right. Okay. I'll be in touch.
All right. Call me because I don't just sit up here. And I have lots of Zoom meetings. This is not my only one.
Okay. You're very active.
Okay. But let me know on Sundays, I'm doing live streaming with my church and Sunday school and all that kind of stuff. But during the week, I have others. I have bicycle and pedestrian tomorrow. And but I have others. So let me know. I tell you like my kids, let me know beforehand because I'm not sitting here waiting on you. Okay. All right. And I'll fix you pancakes and eggs and what have you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's 3 of us here hosting this meeting, by the way.
Well, you can bring them all. You know, I'm used to cooking for 5 kids and a husband. So we used to do 40 pancakes every Saturday. So from scratch, it's simple.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson, I think this is a great time to highlight that we have 2 openings for the District Advisory Board. And we're looking for some people from the south side of District 1.
Yeah, we need better representation or actual representation from the south part of the district. We have one and that individual had to step away. So we've got 2 openings. Love to have somebody, when I say southern part of the district, I mean south of Douglas. If we can get folks that are south of Douglas all the way down in the Linwood area, we do need that. You can go to wichita.gov, click get information, click citizen advisory boards, scroll down and you'll see the District 1 Advisory Board. We are the first one since it's District 1, and then apply there. So we need 2 members from the southern part of the district. We just appointed a new youth member. His story was pretty cool. He told us at the District Advisory Board, he read the story in the newspaper about my appointment to C-Post, looked us up on social media, and then he looked us up on wichita.gov and applied, and then he got appointed. He just wanted to help out and be a part of things, so that was great. Hey, Kathy and Marquita, yeah. Marquita, I don't know where you are on the south side. District 1 stops at Mount Vernon. If you were south of Mount Vernon, then you'd be in District 3. If you were north of that, depending on where you are, between Hillside and 135 or a little bit farther west, you may or may not be in District 1. It gets real weird out there, but look at, you can check that out. I'll call you about that. But yeah, we've got those 2 openings. Please apply. District Advisory Board meets once a month. They look over zoning cases. They are the ears and mouthpiece of the community. They advise the council member on what the council member should do in a zoning case or other things that comes before, whether it's Douglas Streets or our downtown streets plan, riverfront, all of that. The District Advisory Board represents the community. So if you're interested, definitely apply. We've got those 2 openings. We also have another opening if you are an accountant looking to do a bunch of finance stuff on our employee retirement board. I have an opening there. So looking to make an appointment. That position's been open for a while. So if you like numbers and you want to do that type of work, go ahead and apply same way, and we can get you appointed. I think that's pretty much it. We'll make sure we get that flyer posted so you can see the opportunity to get free food. Don't forget, Tuesday is our final budget meeting. There are some hot button issues right now as far as funding in the police department, looking at Century 2, animal control. So all of that will be talked about Tuesday. definitely send emails if you want to let us know. I will tell you that we have 4 active campaigns on emails going, so most of us council members are over 1,000 emails again. But we try to skim through there. It'll be hard to reply to everybody by Tuesday, but we will be looking through there to see what the general thoughts are around these items, and then we'll come up with some final plans from the bench and go forward from there. But definitely continue to engage us on those issues. We are listening. Tuesday's budget meeting is at 9 a.m. You can watch on Facebook and YouTube. We will post links on Twitter as well. So definitely tune in for that. I don't think I have anything else coming up. So with that, appreciate you all tuning in this morning. Appreciate Officer Watson coming to talk about his initiative. I remember when he came to me about it, I was really excited. So I'm looking forward to supporting this and trying to get more support into that program to see it succeed. And again, thank you all. We'll be back next month. Hopefully one of these days soon, probably be 2021 when we can meet in person again, but we'll continue to have these virtual breakfasts. So we will see you next month.
Brandon, since next month is September and Labor Day, you're not going to do it the first Saturday, will you? You do it the second Saturday, like kind of like you did this time?
Yep, second Saturday.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, we're officially signing off of Zoom.